On a frigid, snowy evening in a bustling city, the air crackles with the energy of hurried footsteps and muffled conversations. People, bundled in thick coats, dart past each other, eager to escape the biting cold that seems to seep into their very bones. The bright lights of storefronts glimmer against the darkening sky, but amidst the vibrant chaos, one figure stands still, Barron Trump. Lost in thought at a street corner, he observes the world around him, oblivious to the bustling crowd that swirls by. His attention is suddenly drawn to a nearby bench, where a poorly dressed man huddles, shivering uncontrollably. The stranger's thin attire offers little protection against the unforgiving winter chill, and Barron can see the desperation in his eyes. As he watches, a wave of compassion washes over him. Despite the harsh conditions, no one seems to notice the man in need. In an unbelievable moment, Barron steps forward. Without a second thought, he removes his own expensive jacket, one he cherished for its warmth and style, and offers it to the shivering stranger. "Here, take this," he urges, a genuine concern etched on his face. What happens next will change both of their lives forever, and not in the way you'd expect. Before we dive into the unbelievable twist, make sure to subscribe to our channel for more heartwarming stories that you won't believe. You won't want to miss what happens next. Barron Trump is a name that many people recognize, but not everyone knows much about him. He often stays out of the spotlight, allowing his more famous family members to take center stage. While his dad, former President Donald Trump, and his older siblings are often in the news, Barron is usually under the radar, living a life that most people do not see. Barron is a young boy, and like many kids his age, he is thoughtful and sometimes quiet. He enjoys spending time with his family, but growing up in a politically important family can be tough. Everywhere he goes, people are watching him. Imagine being a kid and feeling like everyone is looking at you all the time. This pressure can be overwhelming, and it makes Barron's life a balancing act. He wants to enjoy his childhood and be like other kids, but he also has to deal with the expectations that come with being a Trump. Even though Barron lives a life of privilege, he is not blind to the struggles of others. He has seen how some people have a hard time, and this has shaped his character. Barron is not just a rich kid, he has a kind heart and feels for those who are less fortunate. This understanding of hardship is important because it shows that he cares about people, even if he doesn't always show it in public. As we follow the story of Barron giving his jacket to a freezing stranger, it's important to remember that this act of kindness comes from his deep sense of empathy. He understands what it feels like to be in need, and that awareness will lead to an unbelievable moment that changes both their lives. Barron Trump may often be in the background, but he is a thoughtful young man with a big heart. His actions show that sometimes, the most surprising moments of kindness come from those we least expect. On that cold, snowy evening, there sat an older man on a bench, his figure hunched against the bitter wind. His clothes were threadbare and mismatched, a clear sign of the struggles he had faced. Each piece of fabric told a story of better days long gone. This was not just a random stranger, he was a man who had once lived a different life, one filled with warmth, family, and security. But now, he had been living on the streets for months, after losing his job and his family due to circumstances he never saw coming. Life had dealt him a tough hand. He felt as if he had been weathered by time itself, each wrinkle on his face a testament to the hardships he had endured. Despite his tired appearance, there was still a flicker of hope in his heart. He wanted to believe that things could get better, that someone might see him and lend a helping hand. However, as the hours passed on that freezing evening, that hope was fading fast. As he sat on the bench, he felt invisible to the world around him. People hurried by, their faces buried in their phones or turned away as if he were a ghost. It hurt to think that he was overlooked, that others chose to avoid eye contact or walk quickly past him, pretending he didn't exist. The stranger was used to this treatment, but it still left him feeling lonely and beaten down by life. The cold began to seep into his bones, and he felt weaker with each passing minute. He had been sitting there for hours, his teeth chattering and his body trembling uncontrollably. The world seemed to have turned its back on him, and despair started to creep in. No one is going to help, he thought to himself, his heart heavy with sadness. He was ready to give up, to accept that this was how life was now, a never-ending struggle for survival in a world that felt so unkind. But just as he was about to lose all hope, something unexpected happened. In that moment of despair, a kind gesture from a young boy named Barron would change everything. The stranger's story is one of hardship, but it is also a reminder that even in our darkest moments, kindness can shine a light and make a difference. As Barron stood there, watching the stranger shiver on the bench, a wave of internal conflict washed over him. Although he felt a strong urge to help, a flicker of hesitation crept into his mind. Being part of a famous family meant that everyone was always watching him, waiting for him to make a move. He knew that if he helped someone in public, it might become a headline the next day. Would the media twist his good deed into something it wasn't? But deep down, Barron felt that helping someone in need was more important than what others might say. The pull to do something right began to outweigh his worries. He took a deep breath, trying to shake off the fear of judgment. As he stood there, his thoughts drifted to his own experiences. Barron often felt out of place, misunderstood, and lonely, even in a crowded room. He remembered times when he wished someone would show him kindness, moments when the world felt indifferent to his struggles. In those memories, he found a connection to the stranger before him. He understood how it felt to be invisible, to long for a gesture of compassion from another person. This understanding sparked something within him. His decision felt instinctive, as if his heart was guiding him toward the right action. Barron realized that he had the power to make a difference, even if just for one person. In that moment, he knew he couldn't just stand by and do nothing. With determination, Barron walked up to the stranger. The cold air bit at his skin, but it didn't matter now. He removed his expensive jacket, the one he had been wearing just moments ago, and approached the shivering man. "Here. Stay warm," Barron said simply, extending the jacket toward him with genuine warmth in his eyes. This small act of kindness was not just about giving away a jacket, it was about recognizing another human being's pain and reaching out to offer comfort. In that moment, Barron Trump chose empathy over caution, proving that even in a world filled with scrutiny, compassion can shine through. When Barron approached him with the jacket, the stranger was initially shocked and overwhelmed. He blinked in disbelief, unsure if he was truly seeing what was unfolding before him. The cold wind whipped around him, but in that moment, he felt something else, an unexpected warmth. Barron's kind gesture seemed almost too good to be true. As Barron insisted he take the jacket, the stranger's hands trembled with both cold and emotion. Slowly, he reached out and accepted the jacket, his heart racing. As he wrapped the jacket around himself, tears began to well up in his eyes. Gratitude flooded his being, but it was more than just thanks for a piece of clothing. The stranger softly muttered his thanks, but what he truly meant was a deeper appreciation. This was the first real act of kindness he had experienced in a long time. For months, he had felt invisible and alone, as if the world had forgotten he existed. Barron's simple act of generosity pierced through that loneliness, reminding him that there are still good people out there. This moment was transformative for the stranger. It was as if Barron had breathed life back into his weary spirit. He realized that while life had been harsh, there were still flickers of kindness that could shine through the darkness. As he stood there, wrapped in the warmth of the jacket, he felt a shift within himself. The warmth was not just physical, it ignited a spark of hope in his heart, restoring some of his lost faith in humanity. As Barron walked away, the stranger stood up, feeling the weight of the jacket on his shoulders. He gazed into the night sky, which was clear and full of stars. For the first time in months, he felt warm, not just from the jacket, but emotionally as well. The cold no longer felt so harsh, and the world began to feel a little less lonely. In that moment, he understood that kindness does exist, and sometimes it comes from the most unexpected places. Barron's gesture changed everything for him, giving him a renewed sense of hope and the belief that he was not alone after all. The following day, news outlets across the country picked up the story of Barron Trump's kind act. What began as a small gesture of compassion quickly went viral, capturing the hearts of people everywhere. The stranger, who had been homeless and shivering on that cold bench, was identified as James Thompson, a former millionaire businessman who had lost everything due to a series of unfortunate events. As the details of James's life unfolded, it became clear that he had once lived a life of luxury. He had built a successful company from the ground up, but a sudden economic downturn, coupled with personal tragedies, had led to his downfall. After losing his job and his family, James had found himself living on the streets, trying to rebuild his life in silence. The kindness shown by Barron was not just a random gesture, it was the spark he needed to reignite his hope. The story of Barron and James resonated with many, attracting the attention of charities, businessmen, and even former colleagues who had long forgotten him. Offers of help poured in from all directions. People wanted to support James in his journey to rebuild his life, providing him with resources, job opportunities, and a renewed sense of purpose. The act of kindness that Barron had shown transformed James's life in ways he never imagined possible. But the impact of this moment didn't stop with James. For Barron Trump, this small act of generosity became a pivotal moment in his own life. His empathy and kindness became the subject of public admiration, leading him to speak out on important issues like homelessness and mental health. Barron realized that his actions could inspire others to make a difference, and he began to use his platform to advocate for those in need. What had seemed like a simple, private act of kindness snowballed into something much bigger. Barron's decision to help a stranger not only changed James's life but also shaped Barron's character and purpose. He learned that even the smallest gestures could have profound effects, and that kindness could bridge the gap between people from different walks of life. In the end, both Barron and James emerged from this experience transformed, united by a shared understanding of compassion and the power of human connection. Their lives were forever changed, reminding everyone that kindness can create ripples of hope in a world that often feels indifferent. Barron Trump's act of kindness resonated far beyond the cold streets where it took place. People across the country were inspired by Barron's humility and compassion. Social media erupted with stories of others performing similar acts of kindness, all stemming from the viral video of Barron helping the stranger. The hashtag "kindness is contagious" spread like wildfire, encouraging individuals to share their own experiences and challenge others to engage in acts of generosity. As the story gained traction, it reached beyond national borders, touching lives worldwide. Charities and organizations focused on homelessness and mental health saw a remarkable surge in donations and volunteers eager to make a difference. Individuals who had once felt powerless began to see that they too could contribute and help those in need. Barron's simple gesture became a rallying point for change, inspiring a movement that emphasized the importance of kindness in everyday life. This newfound enthusiasm for helping others also sparked conversations about the struggles faced by those experiencing homelessness and mental health issues. People began to recognize that everyone has a story, and that behind every face is a life filled with challenges and dreams. Barron's simple act of giving away his jacket became symbolic of a larger movement, a reminder that small acts of kindness can ripple outward, affecting the world in profound ways. The impact of Barron's decision to help a stranger went far beyond what anyone could have imagined. It ignited a wave of compassion that encouraged people to look beyond themselves and make the world a better place, one act of kindness at a time. In this way, Barron Trump not only changed the life of one man but also inspired a collective effort to spread kindness and empathy across the globe. As Barron walked through the city, he felt a renewed sense of purpose. The bustling streets that once seemed overwhelming now felt filled with possibility. He was fully aware of the profound impact of his actions, realizing that a simple gesture could lead to extraordinary changes. The world may never be the same, but he felt content knowing that he had made a difference, no matter how small it might seem. Months later, the stranger, James, was no longer the man sitting on the cold bench, shivering and alone. He had a job and a modest place to live. His life had been rebuilt, piece by piece, and he often reflected on that pivotal moment when Barron had given him his jacket. That act of kindness had served as the catalyst for a new chapter in his life, igniting a fire within him to strive for better days. James now volunteered at local shelters, sharing his story and encouraging others who felt lost and hopeless. He understood firsthand how one small act could change the trajectory of a life, and he wanted to pay it forward. In the end, Barron and James's paths had crossed in the most unexpected way, creating a bond that neither of them would ever forget. Their stories became intertwined, demonstrating the power of compassion and human connection. Sometimes, all it takes is a simple act of kindness to change everything. For Barron Trump and the man he helped, it was a moment that transformed their lives and became a lasting reminder that kindness can ripple through the world, creating waves of hope and change. If you found this story inspiring, hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more unbelievable tales of kindness, transformation, and the power of empathy. Don't miss the next heartwarming story that's sure to leave you speechless. Together, let's spread kindness and make the world a better place, one story at a time.